It's always a bit of a cultural moment when Netflix drops a new installment of their Untold series. These documentaries have a knack for peeling back the layers of stories we think we know, often revealing the complex, sometimes uncomfortable, human elements at their core. Their latest, Untold, The Liver King, which landed just this past week in May 2025, is no exception. It takes on the larger-than-life internet persona of Brian Johnson, a man who built an empire on the promise of ancestral living and raw organ meat, only to see it publicly questioned, and for many, dismantled. This film doesn't just rehash old headlines. It delves into the fascinating, bewildering, and ultimately very modern saga of a man, a message, and the maelstrom of the digital age. For those who might have missed the initial whirlwind, Brian Johnson, as the self-styled Liver King, burst onto the social media scene with a physique that seemed almost carved from stone and a lifestyle he claimed was a direct emulation of our primal ancestors. His message was one of rejecting modern softness in favor of the 9 ancestral tenets, which included a diet heavy on raw liver, bone marrow, and testicles, alongside extreme physical exertion. He amassed millions of followers, captivated by his unwavering commitment to this rugged, almost cartoonish masculinity and the promise of tapping into one's most dominant primal self. The documentary masterfully uses a whirlwind of his own social media clips to re-immerse us in that initial phenomenon. The raw meat consumption, the shirtless declarations, the sheer theatricality of it all. What Untold, The Liver King, does so compellingly is move beyond the surface spectacle. It doesn't just point and gawk. It attempts to construct a nuanced narrative of Brian Johnson himself. Through what appears to be extensive research, archival footage, and a surprising array of interviews, including, it seems, extensive sit-downs with Johnson post-controversy, as well as with journalists who investigated his claims, former associates, and even some prominent critics from the health and wellness sphere. The film charts his journey. We see glimpses of his life before the loincloth, his entrepreneurial drive, and the apparent genesis of the Liver King persona. The filmmakers handle this with a commendably steady hand, allowing Johnson to articulate his motivations and worldview, even as they juxtapose it with countervailing evidence and perspectives. The documentary really hits its stride when it unpacks the core of the controversy. The eventual, undeniable revelations about his significant steroid use, a stark contradiction to the natural and ancestral image he so meticulously cultivated. It doesn't present this as a simple gotcha moment. Instead, it explores the lead-up, the mounting skepticism from online fitness communities, the investigative work that brought the truth to light, and most interestingly, the aftermath. How does a figure whose entire brand is built on a specific kind of authenticity respond when that authenticity is fundamentally challenged? Several key themes emerge that elevate Untold, The Liver King beyond a mere character portrait. It becomes a potent examination of influencer culture itself. The pressures to maintain an image, the often blurred lines between persona and person, and the complex relationship between influencers and their audiences. There's a fascinating exploration of the contemporary wellness industry, its allure, its pitfalls, and the way individuals can tap into genuine desires for self-improvement while sometimes offering questionable solutions. The film also subtly probes at modern masculinity, questioning what drew so many men to Liver King's extreme message, and what that says about broader societal insecurities or aspirations. One of the documentary's significant strengths is its apparent commitment to presenting multiple viewpoints. While Johnson is given ample time to speak, his narrative is consistently balanced by health experts who deconstruct some of his more outlandish dietary claims, by fitness professionals who discuss the realities of achieving such a physique, and by cultural commentators who analyze his appeal. The filmmakers seem less interested in outright condemnation and more in understanding the why and how of the entire phenomenon. There are moments when Johnson himself, in the newer interview segments, appears reflective, sometimes defiant, sometimes almost bewildered by the trajectory of his own creation. These are among the most captivating parts of the film, offering a glimpse behind the carefully constructed facade. There are particular segments that resonate long after viewing. One involves a deep dive into the mechanics of his online business empire, revealing the sophisticated marketing and branding operation behind the primal image. Another features interviews with individuals who were once devout followers, tracing their initial enchantment and subsequent disillusionment. These personal stories add a crucial layer of human impact to the narrative. The documentary also doesn't shy away from the ethical questions surrounding the promotion of extreme lifestyles and undisclosed pharmaceutical enhancement, especially to a young and impressionable audience. If there's any area where one might wish for more, it's perhaps a deeper exploration of the long-term impact on those who fully embrace the most extreme aspects of the ancestral tenets without the, shall we say, assistance Johnson had. While the film touches upon the potential dangers, a more dedicated segment on this could have added further weight. Additionally, while his family is mentioned as a core part of his persona, their perspective remains somewhat on the periphery of this particular narrative, which focuses more intently on Brian Johnson, the public figure, and the business. Ultimately, Untold, The Liver King is a thoroughly engaging and thought-provoking piece of documentary filmmaking. It takes a figure who could easily be dismissed as a caricature and uses his story as a lens through which to examine a host of contemporary issues. It's a film about authenticity, deception, the power of belief, and the strange, often bewildering landscape of modern fame. Whether you followed the Liver King saga closely or are coming to it fresh, the documentary offers a compelling, well-researched, and surprisingly nuanced account. It doesn't provide easy answers, but it certainly makes you consider the complex interplay between the messages we consume, the figures we elevate, and the truths that may lie hidden beneath the surface. It's a strong addition to the Untold collection, and one that will undoubtedly spark a lot of conversation.